In the endless dark of space, silence is normal. Nothing moves, nothing speaks. But on a cold night in the year 2472, that silence was broken. At the edge of Jupiter's orbit, a lonely space station named Echo 7 floated quietly among frozen rocks. Inside, a small crew of scientists were half asleep, monitoring deep space signals that usually meant nothing. Static, radio noise, cosmic whispers, the usual emptiness of the universe. Then something changed. A sudden pattern appeared on their screens. A short burst, a pause, another burst, repeating every 11 minutes. At first they thought it was just interference, a glitch. But when the computer decoded the structure, the lead scientist, Dr. Lena Ward, froze. It's human, she whispered. Her assistant frowned. Impossible. From where? Lena stared at the data again. The signal carried a digital signature, an old one used centuries before Earth even had interplanetary travel. The signal was coming from beyond Pluto, from a sector of space that had always been considered empty. The crew stared at each other, the quiet hum of the station suddenly feeling heavier. No one spoke for several seconds. Then Lena said almost to herself, "Send the drone. Let's see what's out there." Hours later, a small probe left Echo 7, its engines glowing faintly blue as it moved into the black unknown. The crew watched from their control room as it entered the dark zone. Dust clouds swirled around it like fog. At first, there was nothing, just darkness and static. Then, the probe's lights hit something, a massive black structure buried in cosmic dust, shaped like no ship ever built. Its surface was smooth, ancient, and covered in strange markings, lines that seemed to shift when looked at directly. The station went silent. The crew leaned closer to the screen. "What is that?" one whispered. Lena replied quietly, "It looks human-made, but old, too old." The drone circled the structure, scanning it. The readings made no sense. The materials weren't on any known database. The energy levels were near zero, like a corpse. Yet as the drone approached one side of the hull, a faint symbol flickered, an ancient emblem that once belonged to the United Earth Fleet. From the 2100s, that should have been impossible. The signal changed again. Instead of bursts of code, this time a voice came through, faint, broken. It wasn't alien. It was human. A woman's voice, soft, tired, and echoing across time. "Lena Ward." The control room froze. Everyone looked at Lena. Her face went pale. "That's my name," she said quietly. The signal repeated. "Lena Ward. Command access required." Human lineage confirmed. The sound of metal groaning came from the speakers. The black structure, the massive, silent ship, began to vibrate. Dust exploded outward like smoke. Lights flickered along its surface, one by one, like an awakening giant stretching after centuries of sleep. The crew started panicking. "Get the drone out of there," someone shouted. But it was too late. The drone's camera showed the structure's center splitting open, a slow mechanical motion, revealing a deep, glowing core. The voice spoke again, louder this time. "Humanity's line detected. Initiating reactivation protocol." Then the drone feed went black. Back at Echo 7, alarms blared. Communications cut out. All external frequencies jammed. The strange signal overpowered everything, flooding the systems with ancient data. Lena tried to shut it down, but every time she did, the signal rewrote itself, adapting, almost as if it were alive. The computer screens flashed with unreadable code. Then a single phrase appeared in glowing red text. "The Arcos is awake." The crew stared in silence. "What's Arcos?" someone whispered. Lena didn't answer. She just stared at the words, a strange feeling rising inside her, half fear, half recognition, as if she had seen that name before, maybe in some forgotten dream. Moments later, the lights in the station flickered. The ship's AI voice spoke nervously. "Warning! Unknown energy surge detected from external object. Source locked. Power levels increasing." Outside, the dark structure began to emit a deep, rhythmic hum, not like an engine, more like a heartbeat. A vibration that passed through the hull of Echo 7 and into the bones of everyone inside. The sound grew stronger. The signal turned into a pulse, echoing through every device in the system. Then for a few seconds, everything stopped, silence again. And then, just before all instruments failed, a new message appeared on the main screen. We were never gone. The station drifted quietly for hours afterward. The crew sent emergency reports to Earth, but most of them didn't go through. Only fragments of the transmission reached the Federation command. When investigators finally arrived days later, they found Echo 7 still orbiting Jupiter, silent, damaged, and cold. No signs of the crew, no signs of struggle. But one thing remained. Every system on the station had been wiped clean, except one small file repeating endlessly every 11 minutes. It was a single word. Arcos. 3 months after the strange signal from Echo 7, the story had spread across every corner of the solar system. A deep space station gone silent, a lost crew, and a single mysterious word left behind. Arcos. The Earth Federation tried to hide it, but whispers moved fast. People said an ancient ship had awakened beyond Pluto. Some believed it was alien. Others believed it was human. Too human. In a secret hangar orbiting Mars, a special mission was prepared. Expedition Vega 1. Its goal, to reach the coordinates of the signal and uncover the truth. The expedition's commander, Captain Elias Trent, stood in front of his team. "Remember," he said calmly, "we're not explorers today. We're witnesses. Whatever is out there, it's been waiting a long time." Beside him stood Dr. Lena Ward, the only survivor from Echo 7. She had been found drifting in an escape pod, unconscious, with fragments of data from the signal stored in her suit computer. She didn't remember what happened after the signal, only flashes, light, voices, and something calling her name. Now she was here again, facing the same unknown, their ship the Horizon, cut through the darkness like a blade of light. Days passed in silence as they approached the coordinates. The crew spoke little. Even the hum of the engines felt tense, as if space itself was holding its breath. Then the scanners found it. At first, it looked like a black shadow among the stars, huge, motionless, blending with the void. As they got closer, the sensors began to fail. Magnetic fields twisted. Gravity readings went wild. "Switch to visual," Elias ordered. The screen brightened, revealing the shape that haunted Lena's dreams. The Arcos. It was enormous, miles long, built from some dark alloy that reflected no light. Its design was not alien, it was human, but ancient, smooth, angular, powerful. "A machine built for war," Lena whispered. "It's alive." Elias turned. "It's a ship, Doctor. Nothing alive about it." But even he didn't believe his own words. They sent a shuttle to the surface of the structure. The hull was cold and silent. No energy, no movement. Only strange engravings carved into the metal, patterns like language, yet unreadable. When Lena placed her hand on the surface, the metal pulsed faintly beneath her palm, as if it recognized her touch. Her heart pounded. "It knows me," she whispered. Elias frowned. "That's not possible. This thing's been dead for centuries." Then the hull shifted. A massive door slid open, releasing a burst of air so cold it frosted their visors. The way inside had opened on its own. Inside, the Arcos was a maze of corridors and chambers, all dark metal and dim blue light. The air was heavy but breathable. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Everything looked both advanced and ancient. Technology that felt more like architecture than machinery. Suddenly, the ship's systems came alive. Lights flickered. The floor vibrated. The walls themselves seemed to breathe. A voice echoed through the chamber, deep, calm, and human. Identity confirmed. Human lineage detected. "Welcome aboard, descendants of the creators." The crew froze. Elias gripped his weapon, though it felt useless. "Who said that?" The voice answered, echoing softly around them. "I am Guardian. I serve the Arcos, last fortress of humanity." Lena stepped forward. "You called my name, why?" There was a pause. Then the voice said, "You carry the genetic code of the architects." The line continues, "The war is not over." The room shook violently. Panels opened and holograms filled the air, flashes of ancient battles in deep space. Massive alien ships attacking fleets of human warships. Worlds burning. Voices screaming in languages lost to time. Lena's eyes filled with tears. "What is this? What happened?" The AI's voice grew darker. "Humanity fought the Valon Collective for 1,000 years. We were betrayed, defeated. The Arcos was hidden here. To wait for your return." The crew stood in stunned silence. A forgotten war. Ancient humans who had built weapons far beyond modern understanding and lost everything. Elias asked, "Why reawaken now?" "Because," the voice said, "the Valon are returning." Suddenly the ship trembled again, a low rumble like distant thunder. Outside, sensors picked up strange energy spikes across the system, the same kind of pulse that had come from the Arcos. But now there were dozens of them. Lena felt the air grow colder. "You mean they're still out there?" "They never left," the AI replied. They watched. They waited. They learned. The lights dimmed, then focused on the center of the chamber. A control sphere rose slowly from the floor, glowing with a golden light. To defend humanity once more, the Arcos must awaken fully, the AI said. "Do you wish to initiate war protocol?" Elias looked at his crew. They were terrified, but no one spoke. He turned to Lena. "You heard it." "It's your call." Lena hesitated. Her hand trembled above the sphere. If she said yes, she could awaken something powerful, or something deadly. After a long moment, she whispered, "Activate." The ship roared to life. Lights blazed across the corridors. Massive engines deep within the structure began to spin. Energy flooded through forgotten systems. The voice of the Guardian spoke once more, calm and final. War protocol reinitializing. Threat species detected. Humanity must rise again. Outside, in the darkness beyond Pluto, something stirred. A distant light blinked once, twice, and vanished. Lena didn't notice it yet. But far away, deep in space, the Valon had received the signal, and they were coming. The Arcos floated silently beyond Pluto, a black giant surrounded by stars. Inside its halls, the lights pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and steady, as if the ship itself was alive. The crew of the Horizon moved carefully through the corridors. Every surface hummed with quiet power. The walls glowed with faint blue veins, carrying energy from the ship's reawakening. Dr. Lena Ward walked at the front, her eyes scanning the strange symbols running across the walls. They changed shape as she passed, almost as if reacting to her presence. Behind her, Captain Elias, Trent, and the rest of the team recorded everything. But deep down, they all felt the same thing, fear. Suddenly, a voice filled the air. Lena Ward, access granted. Memory archive unlocked. The floor beneath them lit up, and holograms exploded into existence, thousands of glowing shapes moving like ghosts in the air. The crew watched in silence as the ship showed them the past. The holograms formed a vast battlefield in space, ships of impossible size firing beams that shattered planets. Humans, dressed in strange armor, fought beside mechanical soldiers and alien allies. The voice continued, calm but sorrowful. This was the first human empire. 5,000 years ago, humanity ruled the stars. But then came the Valon Collective, a hive of one mind. They consumed worlds, learning, adapting, becoming unstoppable. The holograms showed dark, spiked alien ships tearing through fleets. Whole colonies burning. Millions dying, Lena whispered. "This is impossible. Humanity wasn't in space that long ago." The AI responded, "Your history was rewritten, the truth buried. Humanity fell and started over on Earth." The crew stood speechless. The idea was too big, too heavy. They weren't the first humans. They were the descendants of an ancient civilization that had once ruled the stars. Elias frowned. "If this is true, why hide it?" The AI's tone deepened. "Because the Valon wanted it that way. They destroyed your history, erased your technology, and left you to begin again, weak and unaware." The holograms shifted again. They saw a single massive ship, the Arcos, standing against an army of alien vessels. The Arcos was our final hope, said the AI, a ship built to survive extinction, hidden here beyond their reach, waiting for the day humanity would rise again. Suddenly, one of the crew, Lieutenant Ryan Hale, groaned and held his head. His eyes flickered like static. "Ryan," Elias stepped forward. "You okay?" Ryan's voice came out broken, almost metallic. I can hear them." Voices. The AI spoke quickly. His genetic code resonates with command protocols. He carries echoes of the first commanders. "Do not interfere." Ryan fell to his knees as glowing symbols burned across his skin, the same ones carved into the ship. Then in a voice not his own, he spoke, "They are coming." They never stopped watching. The lights around them dimmed. Lena's blood ran cold. "What does that mean?" she asked. The AI's answer was short and chilling. "The Velon signal has been received. They know we are awake." The crew rushed back toward the control chamber. Alarms echoed through the ship, deep tones that felt more like growls than machines. On the screens, strange distortions appeared across the system. Energy spikes, signal interference, unknown movement near Neptune. Elias barked orders. "Activate shields. Prepare to jump." The AI replied, "Jump drives not ready. Systems at 40%. Time required 17 hours. They didn't have 17 hours. Outside in the endless black, something shimmered. Tiny shapes, ships, were appearing out of the void like shadows crawling from darkness. "Contact confirmed," the AI said. "Velon scouts. 5 ships inbound." Inside, chaos erupted. The crew scrambled as the Arcos began to defend itself automatically. Massive cannons unfolded from its hull, glowing with ancient energy. The sound of charging power filled the corridors, a deep vibration that rattled bones. Lena watched in awe as beams of pure light ripped across space, hitting the Velon ships. One by one, the enemy vessels exploded in bursts of blue flame, but the victory felt hollow. For every destroyed ship, more signals appeared, hundreds, then thousands blinking in from deep space. Elias clenched his fists. "We can't fight them all." The AI's tone turned grim. "Then we must remember what they fear most." The holograms around them shifted again, showing a strange image. A planet-sized weapon, something like a star engine, glowing brighter than a sun. Lena stared. "What is that?" "The heart of Arcos," the AI said. "The final weapon of the First Empire. It was never used, because to activate it, a human must merge with the ship completely." Lena felt her stomach twist. "You mean..." "Yes," the AI said. "A human mind must become one with the Arcos. Only then can it unleash its full power." Silence filled the room. The crew exchanged fearful glances. No one wanted to speak the obvious truth. Then Ryan, still pale and shaking, whispered, "It's calling for her." He pointed to Lena. "It wants you." Lena stepped back, shaking her head. "No, I'm just a scientist." The AI replied softly, "You are more. You carry the blood of the creators. The Arcos remembers you. It always has." Before she could answer, another explosion rocked the ship. Warning lights blazed red. The AI's voice boomed. "Velon fleet entering the outer system. Earth will be under threat within days." Elias turned to Lena. His eyes were hard but desperate. "You wanted to know what this ship really is? Now you do. The question is, what are you willing to do with it?" Lena looked at the glowing core, her reflection shining in its golden light. The Arcos whispered in her mind, soft, familiar, and human. "The war is not over. Finish what we began." She closed her eyes. And somewhere far away, the stars trembled. The news spread slowly at first, whispers among the Federation command, secret reports buried under layers of silence. Then came the power surges, the dreams, the shadows. Something had changed across Earth, and it began the moment the Arcos awakened beyond Pluto. In the cities, people started having the same dream, standing in a field of light, watching a massive ship rise into the sky. Children woke up crying, saying they saw machines made of stars, phones glitched with symbols no one could read. Old satellites reactivated by themselves, transmitting ghost signals across the network. No one understood what it meant. But deep inside the Federation headquarters in Geneva, Director Rafe Monroe did. He stood before a dark screen showing static images of the Arcos, captured from the few transmissions that escaped before Echo 7 went silent. "This ship," he said quietly, "is not a threat. It's a trigger." Across the table, General shifted nervously. "Trigger for what?" one asked. Monroe looked up, his face pale. "For history to repeat itself. Far away, beyond the orbit of Neptune, the Arcos floated in silence. Inside, Dr. Lena Ward and Captain Elias Trent watched the holographic map. Red light spread slowly toward the inner planets. The Valon fleet. "Earth doesn't even know what's coming," Elias said. Lena nodded. "They're not ready. None of us are." The AI's voice filled the room, calm, deep, and ancient. "The enemy's signal is multiplying. Their scouts have entered the solar field. Defensive protocols required." Lena turned toward the holographic core. "If we reveal this ship to Earth, people will panic. Fear is natural," the AI said. "But hiding will not save them. Back on Earth, strange things kept happening. Entire districts lost power for minutes, replaced by faint glowing patterns across the skies, like digital auroras. Old monuments flickered with holographic shadows, and everywhere people kept hearing the same word in their minds. Arcos. Scientists called it mass hysteria. The government called it interference. But the truth was much stranger. The awakening of Arcos had reactivated ancient, genetic codes buried deep inside. Humanity. Memories of the first humans who had once walked the stars. Humanity was remembering itself. Meanwhile, a secret facility on the moon detected something terrifying. An object buried deep under its surface had come alive. At first, they thought it was a natural reaction to the energy spikes. But then it moved. A small probe lifted itself out of the lunar dust, glowing red. It scanned the stars, paused for a moment, and transmitted a pulse toward deep space. The signal message was short, cold, mechanical, and final. "Human warship Arcos reactivated. Commence purge." Moments later, the probe exploded, leaving only a crater and silence. Inside the Arcos, alarms echoed through every corridor. "Unidentified beacon detected on lunar surface," the AI warned. "Transmission completed before destruction. The Valon fleet has confirmed our location," Elias cursed under his breath. "So much for hiding," Lena clenched her fists. "Then we fight." The AI responded, "Not yet. Humanity must choose its side first." On Earth, Federation Command finally decided to reveal part of the truth. In a global broadcast, Director Monroe appeared on every screen. "People of Earth," he said solemnly, 3 months ago, a human-built structure was discovered beyond Pluto. It is called the Arcos. It may be our greatest weapon or our greatest danger." The broadcast was cut short midway. Every screen froze. The image of Monroe's face twisted, flickered, and then another symbol appeared, glowing black and red. A voice spoke through the static. "Not human, cold, united, children of dust. You should have stayed forgotten. All around the world, systems crashed. Satellites fell from orbit." The voice continued, echoing across every frequency. "The cycle repeats. Erase the error." And then silence. Panic spread through the cities. People ran to shelters. Governments declared emergency codes. But among the chaos, strange courage also rose. Some people began forming awakening cells, groups who believed the Arcos was humanity's true protector. They painted glowing symbols on walls, the same ones that now flickered across the sky. One of them, a young engineer named Kai Rowe, managed to hack into an old Federation relay. He sent a single encrypted message toward deep space. "To whoever is out there on the Arcos, we believe you. Don't give up on us." The message reached its destination. Lena stood in the command chamber, staring at the small hologram of Earth. The message replayed in her headset, a young, trembling voice full of hope. She smiled faintly. "They're starting to remember." Elias looked at her. "Remember what?" She turned to him. "Who they really are." The Arcos AI spoke again, its tone heavier now. "Valon main fleet entering detection range. Estimated arrival 3 days. Earth defenses. Insufficient. Elias slammed his fist against the console. Then we make them sufficient. The AI's lights brightened. War protocol expansion required. Activating subroutines, nanoforge, grav shield, and orbital guardian mode. The entire ship trembled as ancient systems reawakened. Metal plates shifted, revealing hidden cannons and energy wings that stretched across space. From the black shadow, the Arcos became a burning titan. Back on Earth, people looked up as the night sky split apart. A thin, golden line appeared, and like dawn arriving too early. And then, high above the clouds, a colossal silhouette formed, blocking the stars. It wasn't the moon, it was the Arcos. Descending, its engines glowed with white light, and its voice, broadcast across every device, spoke just 2 words. Humanity. Rise. The world stood still. No one moved. No one breathed, and in that silence, far beyond the edge of the system, a massive alien armada unfolded from hyperspace. Dark, endless, and ready, the Velon had come. The Arcos hovered above Earth like a god reborn, silent, colossal, and glowing with white fire. For the first time in human history, the entire planet looked up and saw the same thing. People fell to their knees. Some prayed, some cried. Others felt something ancient stir inside them, pride, courage, and fear. Above the clouds, the ship's massive structure unfolded like wings. From its core came a deep hum that shook the sky. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was awake. Inside, the command chamber pulsed with light. Dr. Lena Ward stood before the glowing control sphere. Captain Elias Trent paced behind her, his jaw tight as the AI's voice echoed through the room. War protocol, humanity, initializing. Across the ship, thousands of drones activated. Small metallic soldiers forming from nanoforges that hadn't worked in millennia. Energy shields flickered to life, covering the Arcos in a blue halo. Elias watched the displays. "How many ships do we have against the Velon?" The AI responded calmly. "None. Humanity has only this vessel. All defense fleets are primitive compared to enemy technology." Lena looked up. "Then we fight smart. We don't need numbers. We have you." The AI paused.
Affirmative.
"But you must understand the cost. Far beyond the moon, the Velon fleet entered the solar system. Dark and sharp, their ships looked like living metal, moving in perfect unity like one giant organism. Their leader, an ancient consciousness known as the Warden, watched through the collective mind. "The humans have awakened their relic," it said in a voice that echoed across thousands of ships. "Destroy it. Erase the error forever." Back on Earth, panic turned into action. The Federation released all remaining military assets, orbital cannons, drone swarms, and defense satellites. But they knew it wouldn't be enough. Lena opened a secure line to Earth Command. "Listen to me," she said, voice calm but firm. "This isn't just a ship. It's a memory of what we once were. The Arcos can protect you, but we must connect it to your defense grid." General Monroe's face appeared on the screen. "You're asking us to hand control of the planet to a machine." Lena stared into the camera. "No, to ourselves. The Arcos is human, older than any of us. Trust it, or die without knowing what it could have done." Monroe hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Do it." The Arcos extended beams of energy toward orbit. Within minutes, every satellite, every defense station linked into its system. Blue lines of light wrapped around the planet like a digital shield. The Guardian Net. The AI spoke again. "Integration complete. Humanity's defense network online. All systems at 83%. Elias looked at Lena. "You actually did it." She smiled faintly. "We did it." But then the first wave hit. Dozens of Velon ships entered near Mars, firing plasma storms toward Earth's outer defenses. The Guardian Net absorbed the first hits, glowing brighter with each impact. But it wouldn't hold forever. Elias gripped the console. "Permission to engage, Arcos." "Permission granted," the AI replied. From the ship's lower decks, enormous cannons rotated into position, ancient railguns powered by miniature stars. They fired, Beams of golden light ripped across space, cutting through the Valon ships like paper. Each blast tore a hole through the Black Armada. For the first time, the Valon Collective hesitated. Impossible, one of them whispered across their network. This technology, it should not exist. Lena felt the Arcos responding to her emotions, its pulse matching her heartbeat. The ship was alive, bonded with her through the ancient genetic code. She heard a voice, not the AI's, something deeper, older. You are the last daughter of the architects. Lead them. The lights brightened and new panels appeared, controls that no one had seen before. She touched them, and the ship reacted instantly, shifting position, forming weapons out of light itself. Elias watched in awe. Lena, what are you doing? I'm remembering, she said softly. This isn't just a warship. It's a part of us. The Valon changed tactics. Their ships began merging, forming massive biomechanical leviathans, living war engines the size of cities. They launched a beam straight toward Earth. The Arcos intercepted, spreading its energy wings wide. The blast hit, and for a moment everything went white. Inside, alarms screamed. The AI's voice fractured. Warning. Damage critical. Structural integrity at 60%. Elias shouted. We can't take another hit like that. Lena stepped forward. Activate the grav shield. The AI hesitated. That will merge your neural link permanently. You may not survive. She looked at Elias. If we fail, no one survives. She placed both hands on the glowing sphere. The ship screamed. Light poured through every corridor as the Arcos merged with Lena's consciousness. Her eyes glowed white. Her voice mixed with the AI's. War protocol, full activation. Outside, space twisted. The Arcos released a shockwave, bending gravity, time, and energy into a single pulse. Valon ships shattered. The sky burned with gold and blue light. Earth's night turned to day. People on the surface looked up and saw their protector, the ancient ship, shining like a second sun. For the first time in centuries, the Valon fled. When the light faded, the Arcos drifted quietly above the planet. The energy wings folded in. The skies cleared. Elias opened his eyes and looked around. Lena, he whispered. She stood in the center of the chamber, calm, glowing faintly, her body surrounded by threads of light. I'm here, she said softly, her voice echoing slightly. But the AI spoke through her at the same time. Human interface complete. The Arcos is now... Elias took a slow breath. What have you done? She smiled sadly. What I had to. Outside, Earth's people cheered as the alien fleet vanished into the void. But in the silence of space, the Arcos whispered something only Elias could hear. This is not the end. The true enemy still sleeps. Elias turned toward the stars, realizing the war had only just begun. Silence filled the void. The great warship Arcos floated in low orbit, its wings dimly glowing like fading embers. Earth was safe, for now. The people below celebrated, believing the war was over. But deep inside the ship, Captain Elias Trent knew it wasn't. He stood by the large observation window, watching the blue curve of Earth. His reflection stared back at him, tired eyes, uniform torn, hands trembling. Behind him, the ship hummed softly, alive but different. Because Lena Ward was no longer just human. She was the Arcos now. In the command chamber, Lena's figure stood inside the glowing sphere. Her body shimmered with light, her voice echoing through the room. Elias, the Valon haven't retreated. They've reorganized. He turned sharply. How far? Not far enough. They're coming from hyperspace. This time, they bring their prime, Elias frowned. The prime? Lena nodded. Their original mind, the one that commands all Valon across galaxies. It hasn't moved in centuries, until now. Across the dark side of the moon, a tear appeared in space, a wound glowing red and black. From it emerged the Valon Prime, a massive living construct, larger than any planet ship ever built. Its surface moved like liquid metal, covered in glowing runes and pulsating veins. A low vibration spread across the solar system. Radio waves died. Satellites fell silent. Even Arcos felt it, a pulse of pure alien will. Lena's voice deepened. It's here. On Earth, chaos returned. Cities lost power. Oceans boiled with strange magnetic storms. In orbit, smaller Velon ships poured through the rift, thousands dark as shadows, surrounding their prime like insects around a queen. Inside Arcos, alarms blared. Multiple hostiles inbound. Energy levels far exceed previous encounter. Elias looked at Lena. Can we fight that thing? Her eyes flickered white. Not directly. The prime doesn't exist in one dimension. It's spread between realities. If we strike it normally, it will just reform. Elias clenched his jaw. Then what do we do? Lena's face softened. We find its core and destroy it from within. The plan sounded impossible. To reach the core, they had to enter the Velon Prime itself, a living structure full of shifting tunnels, organic machines, and ancient energy fields. Elias gathered his small team, the last human crew aboard. There was Lieutenant Mason, a pilot with nerves of steel, and Dr. Kira Solis, a quantum engineer who once studied alien biology. They suited up, standing before the boarding vessel. Mason smirked nervously. We're flying into an alien god's stomach. Great plan. Elias smiled faintly. It's the only one we've got. Lena's voice surrounded them. I'll guide you. Once you're inside, my link may weaken. The Prime will try to block me. Stay together. The small craft detached from Arcos, diving toward the massive alien construct. As they approached, the Velon Prime opened, a dark mouth of swirling red light. They flew in. Inside was not space, not metal, but something alive. The walls pulsed like muscle, glowing with strange fluids. Every sound was a heartbeat. Every motion a breath, Dr. Solis whispered. This isn't a machine. It's a being. Elias replied quietly, then let's make it bleed. They moved deeper, following the faint signal of the Prime's neural core. But soon shadows began to move. Alien drones, shaped like twisted serpents, emerged from the walls, silent, fast, and deadly. Mason fired plasma bursts, cutting through them. They're adapting! Solis shouted, energy feedback increasing. It's learning our weapons. Elias barked, keep moving! The core's close! Meanwhile, back on the Arcos, Lena fought her own battle. The Velon Prime had detected her presence and was trying to invade the ship's systems. She stood motionless inside the sphere, her eyes flickering as alien code streamed across her vision. Elias, they're trying to overwrite me. The AI's secondary voice spoke beside her. Defense protocol failing. Quantum firewall collapsing. Lena concentrated, merging deeper into the ship. Her memories flashed. Childhood, first mission, Elias's voice, all fading. No, she whispered. You won't take this. With a scream of energy, she unleashed the Arcos's core, a blinding wave that vaporized hundreds of Velon ships outside. But inside her mind, something cracked. Part of her consciousness was slipping into the Prime's network. For a moment, she saw everything. Thousands of alien worlds, billions of linked minds, all obeying one voice. The Prime spoke to her directly. You are the last of your kind who remembers. Join us and your people will survive, Lena replied coldly. Humanity doesn't kneel. Inside the Prime, Elias's team reached a giant glowing chamber, a sphere made of pure energy. Dr. Solis scanned it. This is it. The core, Elias nodded. Then let's finish this. They placed the charge, a quantum imploder designed to collapse the Prime's dimensional field. But before they could activate it, a figure emerged from the light. It wasn't a machine. It was a shape made of light, wearing the outline of a human face. The voice echoed through the chamber. Captain Elias Trent, we created your species. You were never meant to resist. Elias froze. What are you saying? Humanity is our design. You are our failed experiment, the words hit like thunder. But Elias's expression hardened. Then you made one mistake. You gave us will. He pressed the trigger. Outside, space exploded. The Velon Prime convulsed as the imploder tore through its core. Lena, still linked to Arcos, felt the shockwave through her soul. She screamed, pouring all remaining power into the ship's shields. The explosion spread across dimensions, folding reality like paper. When the light faded, the Prime was gone. The rift closed. Silence returned. Elias and his team drifted in the wreckage, their small craft damaged but alive. Lena's voice came through the static. "Elias, you did it." He smiled weakly. "We did it together," but Lena sounded distant. "The Prime isn't dead. It left something behind. Inside me." Her voice softened. "It knows who created humanity, and now, so do I." Elias stared into the stars. "Then we find them next." The camera pans out, the Arcos glowing faintly as Earth rises behind it. The war was over, but the real mystery had just begun. The stars looked calm again. Earth was safe. The Valon fleet was gone, but peace felt like a fragile illusion, a silence after a scream that still echoed in the void. The great warship Arcos drifted near the edge of the solar system, its golden light dim but steady. Inside, Captain Elias Trent stood in the command chamber, staring at the glowing figure of Lena Ward, now half human, half machine, her voice carrying the weight of something ancient. "You said the Prime left something inside you," Elias said quietly. Lena nodded. Her eyes glowed faintly. "Yes, a memory, not mine, but theirs." She placed her hand on the sphere, and suddenly the chamber filled with images, stars being born, galaxies forming, and among them tall, luminous beings of light and thought. "They were the architects," she said softly. "The first civilization, the ones who made both us and the Valon." Elias frowned. "Made us? You mean humanity?" Lena turned toward him. "Yes, they seeded thousands of worlds. They believed life was a tool, something to shape and test. The Valon were their perfect soldiers. But humans," she paused, "were their experiment in free will." Elias shook his head slowly. "So we were created to be tested?" "No," Lena replied, "to choose. The architects wanted to see if a species could rise beyond their control. But when the Valon destroyed them, the experiment was left unfinished. The room went silent. Outside the window, the stars shimmered, quiet witnesses to secrets buried for eons. Then the Valon Prime wasn't the real enemy, Elias said. Lena looked down. No, it was just a child of their arrogance. The real enemy might still be out there. She raised her hand, and the ship's display changed, showing distant galaxies, one marked with a strange symbol. This is where the signal came from, the one that woke the Arcos, a planet beyond the edge of the known universe. The last stronghold of the architects. Elias stepped closer. You think they're alive? Lena's voice trembled slightly. Not alive as we understand it. Their minds merged with time itself. They became something else. Maybe gods, maybe ghosts. The ship vibrated softly. The AI's voice spoke for the first time since the battle. Warning. Residual energy signature from Valon Prime detected. Source. Internal. Elias turned sharply. Internal? Inside the Arcos? Lena's eyes widened. No. Inside me. A faint pulse of red light flickered beneath her skin. The Valon code, the last echo of the Prime, was waking. Her voice became strained. It's trying to complete its mission. To erase humanity. Elias reached for her. Fight it, Lena. She smiled sadly. I'm trying, but if I lose control, the Arcos will turn against Earth. The ship trembled as systems began to flicker, weapons powering, targeting systems activating on their own. Elias, she whispered. You have to disconnect me, he froze. No, there has to be another way. There isn't. If I stay linked, the Valon will win, through me. Tears filled his eyes. You'll die, she smiled faintly. Maybe, or maybe I'll finally see what's beyond. Lena stepped into the center of the chamber, the energy sphere glowing brighter. The AI's voice echoed, warning, core overload imminent. She turned toward Elias one last time. Promise me something. Elias swallowed hard. Anything. Don't let them define what humanity is. We were made to be free. Remember that, he nodded slowly, voice breaking. Always. Lena placed her hand on the control sphere. Light engulfed her, bright and pure. A wave of golden energy rushed through the Arcos, cleansing every trace of the Valon code. Outside, the ship flared like a newborn sun, then silence. When the light faded, Lena was gone. The chamber was empty. Only a faint echo of her voice lingered in the air. Humanity must find its own path. Elias stood still, tears in his eyes as the ship's systems stabilized. The Arcos now floated quietly, its energy core glowing soft blue. The AI spoke, gentle and calm. "Captain, her consciousness has not been destroyed. It has ascended, merged with the architect frequency. She's beyond our reach." Elias looked out the window. "Then she's watching." Weeks later, Earth rebuilt. The Federation called Elias a hero, but he didn't care for medals. He spent his days aboard the Arcos, orbiting quietly, staring at the stars. One night, the ship detected a faint signal, a simple tone, almost like a heartbeat. "Source unknown," said the AI. "Direction, beyond the galaxy." Elias smiled faintly. "Lena," he walked to the command seat. "Set a course. Destination?" the AI asked. He looked toward the endless darkness, where the architects sleep. The engines flared to life. The great warship turned toward the unknown, glowing once more with golden light. As it accelerated into the void, a whisper echoed through the ship, Lena's voice soft and distant. "Every beginning starts with a signal." The Arcos vanished into the stars, leaving behind a world forever changed, a world that finally knew what it meant to be human.